Listen closely, child. Lean your spirit toward mine for a moment. There is a stirring inside you tonight, a pull you can't explain, a softness rising beneath the weight you've carried for far too long. You may not know why your heart feels fragile in this season, why your chest tightens when the world celebrates, why old memories return in waves you didn't invite. But I know. I have been watching the quiet places within you, the corners where you sit with thoughts you never say aloud, the spaces where tears have dried before anyone noticed them. This Christmas is not like the others. Something sacred is unfolding around you, something tender, something deliberate, something meant for the wound you've hidden even from yourself. I'm closer than your breath, closer than the tremor in your voice when you think you must stay strong, closer than the silent questions you carry in the back of your mind. And tonight, I draw near not with distance, not with judgment, but with the authority of a father who refuses to let his child walk wounded in the dark. Feel my nearness. Feel the shift in the atmosphere around you. Feel how your heart responds, even if your mind does not yet understand. You have asked for signs. You have whispered for clarity. You have wondered if I still move in your story. And here I am, stepping into the very ache you learned to tuck away. I am not intimidated by what hurts in you. I am not surprised by the weight you've managed alone. I come to meet you right where the fracture began, right where fear built its walls, right where you stopped hoping things could change. This Christmas, I am moving toward the wound you've been afraid to show, not to expose you, but to free you, not to reopen the sorrow, but to breathe life into what has grown quiet inside you. Let me speak deeper. Come closer, child, closer than the thoughts you use to protect yourself. You have carried a quiet ache beneath everything you do, an ache that you've learned to tuck behind practiced smiles and measured words. You've convinced yourself that acknowledging this wound might make it pulse again, might make the past feel too present, might open emotions you don't know how to hold. But the truth is this: I have seen every layer of the pain you've tried to silence. You're not navigating this alone, and you never have been. You think this wound is too fragile for me to touch, too complex to unravel, too old to matter anymore. But nothing about you is too fragile for my hands, and nothing in you is too tangled for my understanding. I do not step toward your pain with force. I approach it with the tenderness of one who has watched every moment that shaped the tears you never cried aloud. I honor the places where your heart learned to whisper instead of speak. You have spent years believing you needed to stay composed, believing that ignoring the hurt kept you stable, believing that if you looked away long enough, the ache would dissolve. But child, the ache did not disappear. It settled deeper. And I have waited, not impatiently, not with frustration, but with a love that watches the wounded place without turning away. When you guard your heart, I guard you. When you hide the wound, I see the truth of it anyway. There is no shame in the tenderness you carry. There is no weakness in the sensitivity you try so hard to cover. The emotions that feel too much to you are not too much for me. I created the depth inside you. I understand every corner of it. You do not have to pretend resilience here. You do not have to explain your silence, your fears, your trembling. All I ask is that you let me enter the place you've been afraid to feel. Feel the shift within your chest, the soft, slow loosening that you can't quite name. That is not a coincidence. That is not imagination. That is my nearness brushing against the wound you thought was better left untouched. I am not opening it to cause pain. I am touching it to relieve the pressure you've carried for longer than you admit, even to yourself. Healing does not begin with bravery. It begins with willingness. And you are more willing than you realize. This Christmas holds a tenderness you did not expect, because I am moving toward the part of you that felt safest in hiding. I am not here to judge what you carry. I am here to lift it. I am not asking you to relive what hurt you. I am asking you to let me sit beside the place where the hurt settled. Let this truth rise gently inside you. You are seen. You are safe. You are held in a way that does not demand strength from you. Your healing is not an interruption of your story. It is the beginning of the chapter your heart has been waiting for. Child, let your heart remain open just a little longer. You felt the first shift when my presence brushed the edges of your hidden wound. But now I am moving deeper, still gently, still patiently, still with the authority that heals without forcing. You have held this tender place inside yourself for so long that you forgot what it feels like to breathe freely, to exist without bracing, to let your inner world soften instead of tighten. But I have not forgotten the version of you that once lived unguarded, before fear built its walls. You think healing must be dramatic, sudden, loud, but healing often begins in the quietest ways, in the way your shoulders lower when you finally allow yourself to stop pretending, in the way your breath deepens without you requesting it, in the way a single moment of honesty releases pressure you didn't realize you were carrying. These are not small things. They are signs that your heart is responding to me. I am not here to make you relive what wounded you. I am here to untangle what the wound taught you to believe about yourself. The lies that took root in fragile moments, the ones whispering that you are too broken, too complicated, too slow to heal, those lies are losing their authority in my presence. What defined your pain will not define your future. I am rewriting from the inside out. Do you feel that warmth rising again? That subtle, steadying comfort that seems to come from nowhere? That is me placing my hand on the places where your confidence cracked, where your trust faltered, where your hope thinned into silence. I am not asking you to be strong for me. I am strengthening you with every breath you take in my presence. There is something sacred unfolding within you, a restoration that does not rush, a transformation that does not shame your pace, a soft rebuilding of the parts of you that learned to shrink. This is not the reopening of pain. This is the reawakening of life. You've spent years afraid that if someone saw the full depth of your wound, they would turn away. But I have seen everything, your questions, your hesitations, your fragile nights, your unspoken fears, and I remain, not reluctantly, not conditionally, but fully, intentionally, and with a love that refuses to let this wound continue to shape your story. Child, your healing is not a possibility. It is already in motion. And now let your heart speak. Share in the comments what part of this message resonated with you. Your voice may gently strengthen someone else who is also learning to heal. Child, I see the weariness that settles beneath your smiles, the heaviness that lingers even when the world wraps itself in celebration. You hoped this season might lift your spirit, that familiar lights and familiar songs would stir something warm inside you, but instead, the weight you carry feels unchanged, perhaps even sharper, in contrast to the joy around you. And though you try to hide it, I feel the tiredness woven through your heart like a quiet thread. Let me tell you something with tenderness. Your exhaustion does not disappoint me. It does not surprise me. It does not diminish my love for you. You have walked through seasons that drained you more deeply than you ever admitted. You have held responsibilities that stretched your strength thin. You have been present for others, even when your own soul was begging for rest. You have pressed forward out of necessity, not because your heart felt light. And I have watched it all, not as a distant observer, but as one who understands every unspoken thought and every silent ache. You believe that feeling tired makes you spiritually inadequate, but fatigue is not failure. Weariness is not weakness. It is a sign that you have been pouring from places that needed tending. It is a sign that the battles inside you have lasted longer than anyone around you realizes. This Christmas, while others may see lights and celebration, I see something deeper moving within you. I see the slow unraveling of pressure inside your chest. I see the quiet longing for rest. I see the part of you that wishes for peace without knowing how to reach it. And it is precisely here, in this tender, tired place, that I am drawing near. You may feel unchanged on the surface, but something sacred is beginning beneath it. Healing does not always arrive as a sudden burst of clarity. Sometimes it begins as a soft shift you barely notice, a gentle calm rising behind your ribs, a loosening in your breath, a subtle sense that you are no longer carrying everything alone. These are the first signs of my work inside you. I am not asking you to manufacture joy. I am not demanding that you feel festive. I am not expecting you to be strong when your soul feels strained. I move at the pace your heart can bear, not the pace others expect from you. I am not rushing your healing. I am not comparing your journey to anyone else's. I am tending to your tired places with a patience that does not falter. Lean into this moment. Notice how your heart softens when you stop forcing yourself to be okay. Notice how your breathing shifts when you allow honesty. Notice how the truth settles gently. You are not carrying this weight alone anymore. You long for peace, and I am already preparing it within you. Not as a fleeting feeling, not as a brief emotional high, but as a deep, steady presence that grows quietly until it fills the spaces that have felt empty. You may not sense the change fully yet, but hope is beginning to stir. Small, steady, unmistakable. Rest in this. Your tiredness is not a barrier to me. It is the very place where I draw closest. Child, stay here with me a little longer, in this quiet place where your heart doesn't have to pretend. You've carried so much through this year, more than you ever voiced, more than anyone around you realized. Your strength has been stretched in ways that left parts of you thin and trembling, and even now, while the world moves with melodies of celebration, your soul still feels the weight of what you've walked through. I am not frustrated with you for that. I am not expecting you to match the world's pace. I am meeting you exactly where your tiredness has settled. You've wondered why the heaviness hasn't lifted yet, why peace hasn't rushed in the way you hoped. But healing does not always arrive like a sudden sunrise. Sometimes it appears first as a faint warmth, a quiet shift, a steadying breath. What you call still heavy is actually the place where I am working most deeply. What you call unchanged is the soil where new strength is forming beneath the surface. Your fatigue is not a problem to me. It's a signal, a soft, vulnerable signal revealing the parts of you that long to be restored. I do not despise those parts. I draw near to them. I rest. My presence gently over the places where your hope feels thin, where your courage feels worn, where your emotions feel frayed. I press no weight upon you. I lift it. I do not ask you to rise quickly. I hold you while you regain your breath. Let me show you something sacred. Tiredness is not the end of your story. It is the doorway through which deeper peace enters. When you feel the edges of your strength loosen, that doesn't mean you're failing. It means you've reached the limit of what human resilience can carry. And now, my strength begins. You have been functioning for so long that you've forgotten what true rest feels like, but I remember, and I am leading you back to it. Notice the subtle shifts inside you as you allow yourself to slow down. The way your thoughts soften when you let go of the pressure to be okay. The way your heartbeat steadies when you stop trying to outrun your emotions. The way something warm rises within you when you lean, just a little, into my presence. These are signs of revival, not collapse. Signs that your soul is responding to me even when your mind feels tired. You may think you need to get it together before you can meet me fully, but I come to you as you are. Your exhaustion is not an obstacle to me, it is an invitation. When your strength fades, mine becomes clearer. When your spirit feels slow, mine becomes steady. When your heart feels dim, mine becomes light. And as this Christmas unfolds, I am giving you something deeper than seasonal joy. I am giving you restoration, not a momentary lift, but a rebuilding of the tired foundations within you. A quiet renewal rising like breath, returning to lungs that forgot the feeling. You will not stay weary forever. The heaviness will not define the year ahead. I am preparing an inner rest that does not fade when life grows demanding. Stay here. Breathe. Let yourself feel me close. Your tired heart is not a burden. It is the place where I am making room for peace to live again. Child, let me draw your heart into a moment that lived long before you were born. When Gideon stood hidden in a winepress, doing the work of survival in a place never meant for wheat. He was not hiding because he lacked value. He was hiding because fear had narrowed his world, and though the night around him felt thick, though his confidence felt small, I knew exactly where he was. I knew the trembling inside him. I knew the questions he didn't dare speak. I knew the weight he carried in silence. And I see you standing in a similar place. You may not be threshing wheat in secret, but you, too, have stepped into quiet corners of your life where you try to make sense of pressures that feel too large. You've carried doubts that whisper in the back of your mind. You've faced moments where you wondered if I still saw you, still heard you, still move through the shadows that linger behind your thoughts. You've asked questions with your heart that your lips never formed. And like Gideon, you've wondered if your strength is enough for the battles set before you. Hear me. I am not disappointed by your uncertainty. I am not calling you out of your quiet battle to expose you. I am stepping into the hidden space where you stand, because that is where courage begins. When Gideon felt the smallest, I called him mighty. Not because he felt mighty, but because I saw what fear tried to bury. I spoke to the truth beneath his trembling. And I speak to you in the same way. You see yourself through the lens of exhaustion, but I see resilience still breathing inside you. You measure yourself by what you feel, but I measure you by what I placed within you. You fear the darkness of your quiet battles, but I am already standing in them, lighting the places you haven't yet dared to examine. Listen to the stillness around you, the kind that feels heavy, yet strangely intentional. The kind that makes your heart beat slower, the kind that invites honesty rather than performance. This stillness is not emptiness, it is my presence pressing close. When Gideon looked at his life, he saw limitations, he saw weakness, he saw insignificance, yet I saw the strength that had not awakened. I saw the courage beneath the doubt. I saw the leader hidden within the reluctant heart. And here, right here, I see the layers inside you that fear tried to suffocate. Do not confuse trembling with failure. Do not confuse hesitation with distance. Do not confuse silence with abandonment. I have been with you in every quiet battle. I have watched the way you kept moving, even when uncertainty tried to anchor your feet. I have seen the nights when your thoughts tightened around you, leaving you unsure of your own voice. I have heard the fragile prayers you whispered, not with confidence, but with hope that maybe I still listened. And I did. Child, the same assurance I gave Gideon echoes in your heart now, not as a loud command, but as a gentle certainty rising from within. I am with you, fully, faithfully, steadily, even in the places where you fear you cannot rise. This is not the end of your battle, it is the beginning of your awakening. Stay here with me, child, in this space where honesty rises without fear. The battle inside you, the one you rarely name, is not invisible to me. You've been carrying questions that feel too heavy to speak aloud, worries that tighten around your thoughts, doubts that try to convince you they have the final word. But as you breathe, I am peeling back those layers with a tenderness you may not have felt before. Gideon believed he was the weakest, the least, the smallest among many. He thought his place in the world was too insignificant to matter. Yet, I stepped into his hidden place and called out what he could not see. I did not speak to his fear. I spoke to the truth buried beneath it, and I am doing the same with you. You have looked at your life and measured your worth by moments of hesitation, by the battles you did not choose, by the pressure that drained you. You've assumed your uncertainty disqualifies you. But I see the quiet resilience still burning inside you, even when your heart feels tired. I see the strength that stayed when everything in you wanted to retreat. I see the courage that flickers even in your trembling. This is why I whisper to you now. You are not defined by the fear that tries to shape your story. You are defined by the presence of the one who stands with you in every unseen struggle. I am not waiting for you to feel brave before I call you strong. Strength is not the absence of trembling. It is the decision to stand while trembling. That is what Gideon did. That is what you are doing now, even if you do not realize it. Feel my nearness in the places that used to echo with doubt. Feel the steady peace settling into the tension you carried for too long. Feel the shift inside you as my voice becomes louder than your uncertainty. You are not small to me. You are not overlooked. You are not wandering through your battles without purpose. What you see as a dead end, I see as preparation. What you call weakness, I call the soil where courage takes root. What feels like hiding is often where I shape the strongest hearts. Gideon's turning point did not begin with a victory. It began with a moment, one moment, when he realized I was speaking directly into his fear, calling him forward with a love that refused to leave him in the shadows. And this is that moment for you. You do not need to understand the full path ahead. You only need to know this. I am with you in every quiet battle, and I am awakening the strength you thought you lost. And now, child, If this message stirred something true inside you, if it reminded you that you are seen, if it lifted the weight even slightly, if it helped your heart breathe again, show your support by subscribing and leaving a like. Your engagement helps this message reach the hearts that are fighting their own quiet battles. Child, come nearer, nearer than you allow anyone else to approach. There is a trembling inside you that you've learned to hide behind strength, behind composure, behind a carefully woven calm. You move through the world with a guarded grace. But deep within you lies a fear older than your recent wounds, the fear of being fully seen. Not seen in your accomplishments, not seen in your kindness, not seen in your outward strength, but seen in the places where you feel fragile, unfinished, uncertain. You have carried memories you rarely touch, moments you avoid because they still hold a sting. Some of them you buried out of survival, some out of exhaustion, and some because you believed that naming them would unravel you. You learned to protect those inner chambers as if exposure itself could break you. And yet, those are the very places where your heart aches for gentleness. Hear me. I do not come to expose you. I come to heal you. There is nothing within you that intimidates me, no memory too heavy, no emotion too tangled, no fear too deep. I walk into the rooms you've closed off, not with bright light that startles, but with a quiet glow that warms the corners. I do not ask you to fling the doors open wide. I simply stand at the threshold, waiting for the moment your heart exhales and allows me in. You fear being fully seen because you think being seen means being judged. But my gaze does not operate like the eyes of the world. When I look at you, I see every wound and every reason behind it. I see not just what hurt you, but how you tried to survive it. I see the strength beneath your silence, the resilience beneath your hesitation, the tenderness beneath your defenses. I do not look at you and see failure. I look at you and see someone still standing where many would have collapsed. Let your heart rest for a moment in this truth. Being seen by me has never been dangerous. It has always been healing. You've avoided certain thoughts because they feel sharp, avoided certain memories because they bring a heaviness you'd rather not feel. But when I touch those places, I do not bring the weight back. I lift it. My presence does not reopen what time tried to bury. It brings breath to what has been suffocating beneath the surface. I am not here to analyze your pain. I am here to hold it with you. Feel the gentleness that rises as you let these words settle. The way your chest loosens when you're not trying to hide. The way your mind quiets when you realize you don't need to protect yourself from my gaze. This is what it means to be truly seen. Not exposed, not pushed, not unraveled, but understood. And as Christmas draws near, the season that remembers my arrival into a broken world, know this. I am arriving in the hidden world within you as well. Not with force, not with demands, but with a love that refuses to leave your wounds untouched. You are safe to be seen. You are safe to soften. You are safe to let healing begin where fear once ruled. Child, remain here with me, in this space where your heart is no longer rushing to hide. You have spent so much of your life preparing yourself to be misunderstood, preparing yourself to be judged, preparing yourself to be too much or not enough. But you were never meant to live beneath the weight of constant self-protection. You were created for connection, deep, honest, unguarded connection, and that begins with me seeing you as you truly are. You fear being fully seen because you imagine that exposure leads to rejection. Somewhere along your journey, you learned that vulnerability is dangerous, that revealing your inner world gives others the power to wound you. So you built walls, not because you wanted distance, but because distance felt safer than disappointment. You learned to speak carefully, to feel quietly, to reveal only what seemed acceptable. And yet, even with all those walls, the longing to be known never disappeared. It simply hid beneath layers of caution. Child, you have mistaken visibility for danger, but the danger was never the seeing. It was being seen by those who did not understand you. My gaze does not resemble theirs. When I look at you, I do not search for flaws. I search for the places where you need gentleness. I do not stand back in assessment. I draw near in compassion. I do not catalogue your weaknesses. I gather your wounds into my hands, knowing exactly how to hold them without causing harm. Let your guard loosen just a little more. Not because you must force yourself to trust, but because you can finally feel that I am safe. You can feel that my presence does not press against your vulnerabilities. It shelters them. There are things you've avoided within yourself because you assumed facing them alone would shatter you. But you are not facing them alone. Not anymore. When I enter the rooms you keep dim, I do not ask you to relive the pain contained there. I ask you to let me stand in it with you. Your healing is not triggered by confrontation. It is awakened by companionship, by knowing you no longer have to carry what once overwhelmed you. Notice how your breathing shifts when you stop bracing. Notice how the tension around your heart softens when you allow yourself to be honest. Notice how even the memories that once felt sharp lose their power when brought into the light of my presence. This is what happens when love sees you without flinching. You have feared that if someone knew the whole story of your heart, they would pull away. But I know every chapter, every tear, every silence, every choice you regret, every moment you didn't know how to survive. And still, I remain, not reluctantly, not cautiously, but with unwavering commitment. Child, your fear of being seen has shaped you for too long. Now let my love reshape you. Let it remind you that nothing within you is beyond redemption. Let it assure you that being known is not a threat, but a doorway. Let it teach you that healing begins where pretense ends. You are not standing before a judge. You are resting in the presence of one who understands every reason you became who you are. And I am not here to dismantle you. I am here to restore you. So soften. Unclench what fear taught you to grip. Let yourself be fully seen, fully known, fully held. For when you allow me into the places you once hid, you will discover how deeply, beautifully, unconditionally loved you truly are. Child, let your heart rest for a moment in the honesty you've been afraid to speak. You whisper prayers that feel too fragile, too small, too uncertain to matter. You offer me words that tremble as they rise, hoping they reach me yet fearing they fade before they ever arrive. You've convinced yourself that your voice must be strong to be heard, that your faith must be steady to be accepted, that your emotions must be ordered before they are worthy of my attention. But listen closely. I hear every whisper. Not one breath of your heart escapes me. The prayer you think is too soft is the one I draw nearest to. The request you fear is insignificant is the one I cradle with tenderness. The sigh you release when you cannot form words becomes a language I understand without effort. You believe you need volume to reach me, but I am already inside the quietest corners of your being. There are moments when your prayer feels almost weightless, like a thought barely formed, like a hope too fragile to speak aloud. You wonder if heaven notices such things. You wonder if I pause to listen. You wonder if your softness disqualifies you from my attention. But child, I am not drawn to strength alone. I am drawn to sincerity. I do not require eloquence. I desire truth. I am not moved by perfect wording. I am moved by the heart that dares to speak, even when it trembles. You imagine that your prayer must rise like a shout to reach me. But even the quietest murmur spoken from pain, from longing, from the depths of your honest need, those are the prayers that echo the loudest in my presence. The humility in them, the vulnerability in them, the rawness in them. They hold a purity that the heavens never dismiss. Let me tell you something sacred. Your whispered prayer carries more weight in heaven than you realize. You think I overlook what you barely dare to say, but I lean in closer when your voice falters. You think I turn away when you feel too tired to articulate, but I stay near, translating every emotion into meaning. You think silence makes you distant, but I hear even the prayers you only feel, not the ones you speak. There are times when you hold back your deepest requests because you're afraid they're too delicate, too unrealistic, too vulnerable to expose. You fear disappointment more than you fear silence. But child, I do not dismiss the prayers you consider too small. I do not measure their worth by their volume or confidence. I measure them by their sincerity, and yours carries more sincerity than you give yourself credit for. Your soft prayers are not weak. They are brave in ways no one sees. They reach me because they rise from the part of you that trusts me most. And though you may not sense immediate change, your whispers have already begun stirring movement in places you cannot see. I am responding, not always in the way you expect, not always in the timing you hope for, but always in the rhythm that protects you, grows you, and aligns you with what will not break you. So breathe. Let the trembling ease. Let your heart speak without polishing its words. For even the softest prayer becomes powerful the moment it touches my hands. Child, stay in this gentle space with me, where your heart doesn't need to rise into strength before it can rise into truth. Your soft prayers, the ones you whisper in moments no one else notices, are not lost to me. They are not diluted by your uncertainty. They are not weakened by the tremble in your voice. They reach me with a clarity that transcends sound, echoing directly into the depths of my compassion. You have believed for so long that prayer must be confident to be powerful, that it must be bold to be valid. But listen closely. I am not moved by your volume. I am moved by your surrender. I do not weigh the force of your words. I attend to the weight of your heart. What you call too soft is often the purest form of courage, a heart choosing to reach toward me even when it feels fragile, worn, or unsure. There are moments when you hesitate to ask for what you truly need because you fear the disappointment of silence. You hold your breath, wondering whether your quiet longing matters. You question whether heaven is too occupied for your whisper. But child, I am not distant, I am not distracted. I am not too far above your ache to hear it clearly. Your softest requests do not travel upward and fall away. They meet me where you are because I am already within your deepest places. Feel the atmosphere shifting inside you as these words find you. The heaviness begins to loosen. The pressure around your chest softens. This is not accidental. This is my response. Even before your prayer forms into language, I move toward you. Even before you choose the words, I understand the feeling behind them. Your vulnerability is not overlooked, it is honored. Do not measure the effectiveness of your prayer by immediate evidence. Seeds grow long before their sprouting is visible. Movements begin long before their results can be measured, and answers unfold in ways your heart is still being shaped to recognize. What I am doing within you is often quieter than the noise around you, but infinitely more powerful. I know the secret requests you've kept tucked beneath your more acceptable prayers. I know the healing you wish for, but rarely speak aloud. I know the desires so tender that naming them feels risky, and I tell you gently, bring them to me. Not because I need the words, but because your heart needs the permission to release what it has been carrying alone. Your whispered faith is seen. Your trembling trust is precious. Your quiet prayer is enough. Let the truth settle deeply. You are not unheard. You are not unseen. Your soft prayer is opening a sacred path to healing and restoration. And now, child, as you feel this quiet reassurance settling over your spirit, let your heart respond in honesty. Write in the comments what part of this message touched you most. Your words may become a gentle comfort to someone carrying a soft prayer of their own. Child, let me take you into the quiet room where Christopher Reed once sat, alone with a heaviness he didn't know how to name. He wasn't surrounded by chaos. He wasn't shouting or breaking. He was simply sitting on the edge of his bed, the dim glow of a streetlight slipping through his curtains, while something inside him quietly unraveled. It wasn't a dramatic moment. It was the kind of breaking that happens when the heart grows too tired to pretend it's unshaken. Christopher had spent years convincing himself he could survive anything through silence and self-control. He became good at holding everything together on the outside. He looked stable, responsible, composed. But within him lived a wound he never spoke of, a hurt that had woven itself into his breathing, into his decisions, into the way he viewed himself. He thought that if he ignored it long enough, it would curl up and disappear. But wounds do not vanish in darkness. They wait for the moment when the heart grows quiet enough to feel them again. That night, Christopher felt something he had resisted for years, the sense that he could no longer keep the wound at a distance. He didn't know how to fix it. He didn't know how to explain it. Tears didn't fall, but something inside him gave way. It was the silent collapse, the kind where the soul whispers, "I can't do this alone anymore." And child, I was there, not outside the room, not observing from afar. I was standing in the very space where his breath trembled. When his strength reached its limit, mine entered. When his silence grew too heavy, my presence rested upon it. Not with thunder, not with force, not with commands, just a gentle warmth. settling deep in the place he feared was beyond repair. Christopher didn't hear a loud voice. He didn't see a sign. He simply felt me, an unexpected stillness rising inside the ache, a soft pressure of comfort under his ribs, the unmistakable sense that he was no longer sitting in that room by himself. He didn't fully understand it, but he felt held in a way he hadn't felt in years. And in that moment, healing didn't finish, but it began. Child, the moment of breaking is not the moment of failure. It is often the moment of surrender, and surrender is where restoration finds room to breathe. Christopher thought his breaking meant he was falling apart, but I knew it meant something else entirely. His heart had finally opened wide enough for me to touch the wound he had spent a lifetime protecting. For the first time, he wasn't guarding himself from me. For the first time, his walls lowered, not out of strength, but out of exhaustion. And exhaustion can become holy when you place it in my hands. You see yourself in him more than you realize. You, too, have moments when the ache grows louder than your strength, moments when the silence feels heavy, moments when you quietly wonder if your heart can hold one more day. And just as I was with Christopher, I am with you. I do not wait outside your breaking. I step into it, not to watch you crumble, but to begin the healing your heart has waited for far too long. Child, remain with me as I take you deeper into what truly happened in Christopher's heart. His breaking was not loud, not chaotic, not dramatic. It was the quiet kind, the kind where the soul finally admits what the mind has been avoiding. He sat in that small apartment believing he had failed simply because he could no longer hold himself together. But what he thought was collapse, I knew was the opening he had needed for years. He had always measured strength by control. He assumed healing meant never feeling weak. He believed that maturity was silence, and silence was safety. So he carried his wound with a determined dignity, hiding every tremble beneath a steady exterior. But there comes a moment in every life where the heart can no longer carry the weight alone, where the wound presses too deeply to ignore, where pretending becomes heavier than the truth itself. And that night, Christopher reached that moment. As he sat there, hands clasped, shoulders sinking, he whispered nothing aloud. And yet, I heard everything. I heard the years of unspoken pain behind his breath. I heard the loneliness threaded through his silence. I heard the longing to feel whole again, even though he doubted such wholeness was possible. His breaking did not push me away, it drew me closer than ever. Child, understand this. Your breaking does not repel me. It reveals where I am most needed. Christopher felt a warmth begin in his chest, a warmth he did not expect. It was not dramatic or overwhelming. It was subtle, almost fragile, but it was real. It was the kind of comfort that doesn't demand anything in return. The kind that enters not with force, but with familiarity. The kind that speaks without words. You are not alone anymore. He leaned into that warmth, not because he understood it, but because it was the only thing in the room that didn't feel heavy. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to stop resisting, and in that simple surrender, the wound he had kept locked away began to soften. Not fully healed, not instantly changed, but softened. Enough for hope to slip inside again. You, child, have moments just like his. Moments where you fear that your quiet breaking is proof of weakness. Moments where you assume that if anyone saw your heart unravel, they would turn away. Moments where your silence feels too deep to reach through. But I am already there, in the center of your trembling. I do not come to push you to your feet. I come to hold you where you fall. I do not enter your weakness with demands. I enter with understanding. I do not rush your healing. I honor its pace. Christopher's healing began not when he grew stronger, but when he stopped pretending. When he stopped guarding the wound as if it were too fragile for my touch. When he allowed himself to feel the ache instead of outrunning it. And the same is true for you. Your heart does not need perfection for me to meet it. It needs honesty. It needs openness. It needs the courage to let me near the places you once protected out of fear. The breaking you dread is often the doorway your soul has been waiting for. Not a doorway into darkness, but into restoration. Gentle, steady, unforced. Healing begins when the heart finally allows it to. And child, your heart is beginning. Child, slow your breath and come into this stillness with me. You have spent so much of your life believing that healing must happen quickly, that you must recover fast, bounce back instantly, and move forward before anyone notices your hesitation. You felt pressured by time, by expectation, by the silent belief that strength means getting over it rather than attending to what hurts. But I do not comfort you with urgency. I comfort you with presence. You do not realize how often you rush your own heart. When sadness rises, you push it back down. When fear whispers, you try to silence it before it fully forms. When exhaustion settles, you tell yourself to keep moving. Somewhere along the way, you came to believe that slowing down means failing, that feeling deeply means you are falling behind. But child, I never asked you to heal fast. I asked you to heal with me. My comfort does not press you to stand before you're ready. It sits beside you, steady and patient, until your strength returns naturally. My comfort does not shame your trembling. It protects it. My comfort does not demand that you be more resilient than you feel. It becomes the resilience you lack. I am not here to push you out of your pain. I am here to walk with you inside it until the weight begins to lift. There is a softness in the way I hold your heart, a tenderness that does not disappear when your emotions feel chaotic. I know how deeply you feel things. I know how long certain wounds have lingered. I know the layers of meaning behind each tear you never allowed to fall. Nothing about you is too much for me. Nothing you feel is unreasonable. Nothing about your pace frustrates me. Listen to this truth, child. Healing is not linear, it is layered, and I move with every layer. Some days you rise with courage. Other days you wake with heaviness. Some moments you feel hope returning. Others feel like steps backward. None of that discourages me. None of that changes my nearness. You do not disappoint me with your process. I am not evaluating you. I am accompanying you. My comfort looks like this: a hand resting lightly over the bruised places within you, a presence that does not withdraw when your strength falters, a patience that waits for your heart to breathe before moving again. You have mistaken pressure for progress, but they are not the same. Progress happens in the gentle moments, when you allow me to soothe what aches instead of forcing yourself to ignore it, when you allow yourself to feel without apologizing for it, when you let my peace settle instead of trying to manufacture your own. Let the truth settle deeper. You do not need to rush. You do not need to fix everything at once. You do not need to rise before your heart finds its footing. I am not pacing ahead of you. I'm not standing behind you waiting for you to catch up. I'm right here beside you, within you, with you. And this comfort I offer, the one that moves slowly, tenderly, patiently, is exactly what your heart has been longing for. Child, stay in this gentle place with me. You've begun to notice something soft awakening inside you, something that doesn't demand immediate change, something that doesn't pressure you to be stronger than you feel. This is the comfort your heart has needed for so long, the comfort that moves slowly enough for your soul to breathe again. You have walked through seasons where people expected you to move on, to be fine, to stay strong, and though you tried, you carried a quiet ache beneath every effort. You learned to rush yourself because others rushed you. You learned to compress your emotions because the world around you didn't know how to hold them. But child, I do. I have always known how to hold what feels too heavy for you. When I comfort you, I do not push, I do not hurry your process. I do not require you to rise before your heart is steady enough to stand. Instead, I sit with you in the slow, sacred work of healing. I place my presence over the places you feel fragile, and I wait patiently for your soul to unclench. You may think nothing is happening in these quiet moments, but much is happening. Layers are loosening, walls are softening, and burdens you've carried for years are beginning to shift. My comfort is not a command, it is an invitation. It invites your heart to rest before it rebuilds. It invites your emotions to breathe before they transform. It invites your spirit to feel safe before it finds strength. You don't have to rush toward wholeness. Healing that is forced cannot last. Healing that is nurtured becomes rooted. And I am here to nurture every part of you that has lived too long in survival mode. Feel the warmth rising in your chest, that slow, steady reassurance that does not ask anything of you except honesty. Feel the gentleness around your thoughts, the sense that you are finally allowed to be exactly as you are, without pretending, without posturing, without minimizing your ache. This is what happens when my presence settles into your wounded places. The pressure lifts, the fear quiets, the trembling softens. You worry that your pace is too slow, but I am not worried at all. You fear that your progress is inconsistent, but I see the deeper unfolding within you. You wonder if you should be further along, but child, you are exactly where your heart can safely heal. My comfort wraps around you like a soft cloak, protecting the parts of you that were once exposed to harshness. I'm teaching you a new rhythm, one where you no longer rush your own soul, where you no longer shame your own softness, where you no longer fear the pace of your own healing. Let this truth settle within you. You are healing, even on the days you feel still. You are growing, even when progress feels hidden. You are being restored, layer by gentle layer. And now, child, if this message stirred something tender inside you, if it felt like breath returning to a tired place, if it reminded you that comfort is allowed to be slow, share in the comments what part of this touched you the most. Your voice may become the reassurance another heart has been praying for. Child, come quietly into this moment with me. There is a place within you that you tiptoe around, a memory, a fear, a wound you've learned to walk beside without ever looking directly at it. You have built careful paths around this tender space, convincing yourself that avoidance protects you, that distance keeps you stable, that not touching the ache means it can no longer touch you. But your heart knows the truth. What is avoided does not disappear. It waits. And I have been waiting too, waiting with a gentleness stronger than your fear, waiting with a patience deeper than your hesitation. You think that if you allow me near the wound, pain will rise again with the same sharpness it once held. You think facing it will undo the balance you fought so hard to maintain. But child, I do not enter this place as the world once entered it. I do not come with harshness. I do not come with pressure. I do not come to reopen what harmed you. I come to steady you. I come to bring clarity. I come to untangle the fear wrapped around the wound, not the wound itself. There is a difference. You have carried this in silence for so long that you've mistaken the tension inside you for normal. You've lived with a tightness around your heart, with a heaviness in your thoughts, with a guardedness in your emotions. But even guarded places deserve light. Even avoided places deserve rest. Let yourself feel this. My touch is not forceful, it is precise. It rests exactly where you need reassurance, not where you fear discomfort. It moves with care, like warm light sliding into a cold corner. It doesn't demand your readiness, it creates it. As I touch the place you avoid, I am not bringing the past back. I am bringing peace forward. I am not asking you to relive anything. I am asking you to release what you never should have carried alone. You are not fragile in my hands. You are safe, fully safe, even in the places where you feel the most exposed. And as this gentle work begins, notice the shift. A softening in your chest, a loosening behind your ribs, a quiet sense that you no longer need to hold yourself together with the same intensity. This is what happens when love enters the room you once locked. Child, you do not need to fear what I touch. For everything I touch, I restore carefully, patiently, beautifully, until the very place you avoided becomes the place where peace begins. Child, stay close as I move deeper into the place you once feared to feel. You've lived with the assumption that the wound inside you is delicate, unpredictable, dangerous to approach. You believed that if you touched it, even gently, it would break you open again. But the truth is this: what harms you is not the wound itself. It is the fear wrapped around it, and fear loses its grip the moment my presence enters. You misunderstand my intentions when I draw near. I am not coming to force a breakthrough or expose something fragile before its time. I am coming to lift what has burdened you, slowly enough that your heart can keep pace with the healing. I know exactly how much you can carry in each moment. I know the layers of your ache and the history beneath them. I know what needs to be tended and what needs to be released. Nothing surprises me. Nothing overwhelms me. Nothing in you confuses me. As I touch this hidden place, my intention is not to stir chaos. It is to bring order, not to awaken old pain, but to free you from the fear of it. You've spent years anticipating hurt, preparing for it, bracing against it. You became accustomed to expecting the worst, even in your quietest thoughts. But child, healing requires neither bracing nor avoidance. It requires presence, mine and yours. I am here, and you are allowing yourself to stay. That is where transformation begins. Feel the shift deep inside you. Not a dramatic change, but a steady warming. A reassurance that reaches further than emotion. A calm that settles deeper than understanding. This is not your imagination. This is the sensation of fear loosening its claim. You are beginning to see that the wound you avoided is not a place of danger. It is a place of unfinished healing. And unfinished does not mean broken beyond repair. It simply means the story paused, waiting for a safer moment. That moment is now. As I continue touching what you once avoided, you will notice something unexpected. Strength returning where you once felt hollow. Clarity rising where confusion lived. Peace forming in the very areas where anxiety took root. This is the quiet miracle. Not the removal of your past, but the restoration of your present. You are not defined by the wound. You are defined by the one who heals it. And as my presence settles deeper, the fear that shaped your reactions, your thoughts, your decisions begins to dissolve. What remains is not emptiness, it is room. Room for peace, room for gentleness, room for the version of you that was buried beneath caution. Child, trust this process. You are not losing control, you are gaining freedom. The place you avoided is becoming the place where courage first awakens. Child, let me draw your heart into a truth you have overlooked for far too long. You've walked through this year feeling the quiet weight of emptiness, settling in spaces you once believed would stay full. People shifted, seasons changed, moments unfolded in ways you didn't expect. And somewhere along the journey, you began to wonder if you were walking through your days without anyone truly beside you, wondering if your prayers dissolved into silence, if my presence slipped away when life became heavy. But listen to me. You have never lived a single moment without me watching over the fragile steps of your heart. There were days when your strength felt thin and your hope felt quieter than ever. Yet you kept moving because something inside you whispered that giving up was not an option. That whisper was not your resilience alone. It was my hand beneath your spirit, lifting you gently, holding you together when you felt moments away from falling apart. You thought you survived your hardest days by endurance, but you survived them by companionship, mine. You remember those nights when you lay awake with questions that circled like shadows, questions you didn't dare speak aloud. I was there. I heard the thoughts you buried beneath your breathing. I felt the ache beneath every unfinished prayer. Not once did I turn away. Not once did I step back. I stayed in the quiet, near enough for your heart to feel me even when your mind could not. You look back on this year and see gaps, empty spaces created by loss, disappointment, distance, or silence. But child, those spaces were not abandoned. They were the rooms where I entered most deeply. When you thought you were carrying everything alone, I was lifting what your heart could not. When you believed you were unraveling, I was shaping the threads of new strength within you. When you could not see a way forward, I was preparing one quietly behind the scenes. Listen to the soft truth rising in you even now. You were never alone, not for a breath, not for a moment, not for a step. You think my presence is proven by what you can feel, but my presence is not limited to sensation. Sometimes I come as peace, sometimes as conviction, sometimes as quiet strength. And sometimes I come simply as the ability to endure one more day. You underestimate how many times my hand steadied you, times you ignored, times you forgot, times you thought were coincidences or your own determination. This Christmas, the veil over your heart is thinning. Not because your circumstances changed, but because you are changing. You are beginning to sense what has always been true. The places that felt the most empty are the places I filled the most. The steps you feared taking were the ones I guided most carefully. The moments you believed were your weakest were the ones I covered the closest. Child, as the spaces carved in you by this year were not carved for grief to live in, they were carved so my presence could settle more deeply than ever before. You are starting to notice what you missed before. The gentle alignment of things you thought were falling apart, the unexpected strength rising in places you thought were too bruised to hold anything new. This is not coincidence. This is companionship, divine, constant, intentional. And as you step into Christmas, hear me whisper this truth over your spirit. You have not walked alone. You are not walking alone now, and you will not walk alone in the days ahead. If this message stirred something inside you, if it reminded you of my nearness, if it lifted even a fragment of your heart, support this message by subscribing and leaving a like. Your engagement helps this word reach others who need to remember they were never walking alone. Child, take a deep breath and let your heart open to what is unfolding inside you. You have carried wounds, doubts, and fears that seem to linger longer than they should. You have walked through moments where the weight of life pressed against your spirit, where the world felt overwhelming, where hope felt fragile. And yet here you are, still breathing, still longing, still reaching for more than what yesterday offered. That is not by accident. That is the quiet work of my presence preparing you for something new. This is the beginning of a new inner season, not because your circumstances have changed, not because every burden has vanished, not because life suddenly feels easier, but because your heart is ready. Your heart, which has weathered storms and carried invisible weights, is beginning to respond to my love in ways it has not known before. The ache you once thought unending is softening. The fears that once whispered constantly are beginning to quiet. The spaces that felt empty are slowly opening to receive new life. I am not rushing you. I am not demanding transformation before you are ready. I am moving with you, step by step, moment by moment, letting the gentle work of restoration seep into every part of your being. Healing is not a race, it is a rhythm, and I am teaching your heart to walk in this new cadence. You may not see the full picture yet, but trust that every small shift, every subtle change, is part of the divine choreography of renewal I am orchestrating inside you. Feel the stirrings within, the quiet expansions of courage where fear once reigned, the softening of walls built too long to protect you, the emergence of hope in places that felt too fractured to sustain it. These are the markers of a season that is beginning, a season where steadiness replaces uncertainty, where gentle restoration replaces relentless striving, where clarity replaces the fog that has clouded your vision for so long. You are not only healing, you are awakening to a part of yourself that has been waiting to breathe freely again. There is a peace that comes from knowing you are not defined by what you have endured, by what you have lost, or by what you thought was impossible to carry. You are defined by my presence within you, by the truth that I am closer than your breath, by the reality that your heart is never beyond reach. This new season is not just about repairing the old, it is about discovering the strength and the steadiness that were always planted within you, ready to grow when the time was right. Child, let your spirit settle into this new rhythm. Feel the weight begin to lift, not instantly, but enough for your soul to sense a freedom it has not felt in years. Allow my love to teach you patience with yourself, gentleness in the process, and trust in the unfolding of what lies ahead. Even the smallest steps in this season are sacred, each one carrying you deeper into the life I am preparing for you. This is your invitation. Step into the soft, steady unfolding of what is new. Step into the breath returning to your heart, the clarity returning to your mind, the hope returning to your spirit. You are entering a season where restoration is deliberate, tender, and lasting. You are stepping into a chapter that belongs fully to you, guided, held, and cherished by my presence. You are ready, child, and I am here, moving with you every step of the way. Child, take a moment and feel the path we have walked together. You have journeyed through the hidden places of your heart, the wounds you feared to show, the tiredness that weighed on your spirit, the memories you avoided, the prayers you whispered softly in silence. You have allowed me to meet you in every tender corner, to touch what you thought untouchable, to speak life into the quiet ache you carried alone. And now, as this moment settles, understand this truth clearly. You have never walked alone, and you are never too far from my presence. The year, the seasons, the struggles, they did not leave you abandoned. I have been there in every unspoken thought, every trembling heartbeat, every moment of doubt and fear. I have moved steadily, patiently, and intentionally, preparing the spaces inside you for healing, clarity, and restoration. Your heart has been softening, your soul has been opening, your spirit has been breathing in a new rhythm, a rhythm of tenderness, resilience, and hope. And though you may still carry scars, though some wounds still ache faintly beneath your strength, know this: the pain you once feared has become the doorway to my restoration. The heaviness that seemed unending has been held, reshaped, and lifted by a love that never fails. You have been learning, step by step, that healing does not require rushing, that wholeness is not achieved in a day, and that each quiet moment of surrender is an act of courage in my eyes. This is the essence of your new inner season, the one that continues long after this message ends. And now, child, allow me to guide your heart further. Close your eyes if you can. Breathe slowly, and let these words move within you. Lord, here I am. I bring to you the wounds I have hidden, the fears I have carried, the prayers I thought too small to be heard. I place them into your hands, trusting that you see me fully and love me completely. Touch the places I avoid, the memories that hurt, the heaviness that lingers. Breathe your peace into me. Strengthen me where I feel weak, calm me where I feel restless, and remind me that I am never alone. Teach me to walk in your rhythm, to receive your comfort without rushing, to trust your presence in every season of my heart. I surrender myself to your gentle hands, knowing that restoration begins here now and continues as you guide me. Thank you, Lord, for never leaving me, for never turning away, for holding my soul through every trembling and every tear. Breathe in that truth, child. Feel it saturate your chest, your mind, your spirit. Let my nearness fill the spaces that felt empty for too long. Let your heart rest in the quiet certainty that you are cherished, held, and being restored by a love that never stops. And as you carry this moment into the rest of your day, know this: the journey does not end here. Healing continues in your life, in your thoughts, in your choices, in the way you step into each new moment with my presence by your side. And if your heart is open for more, the next message awaits you, another step closer to the fullness, peace, and clarity I am preparing for you. Click to watch the next video and continue walking in the gentle, steady restoration of your heart.